when you go to the gym, yes, there's going to be days when you can't give 100%, but you give whatever you've got on that day. If it means that you're going to throw up, then you know what, you throw up and you carry on. People think taking steroids is a shortcut, and it's not a shortcut, because when you're taking something like that and you're putting that in your body, you need to train even harder than you would naturally. You got to be going in the gym and leaving like everything in that tank is done. When people look at other people in the gym and they're like, yeah, that guy's on steroids. Yeah, that guy might be on steroids. That's probably like years of work. While people were sleeping, that guy was probably up at 5 a.m. doing a cardio or getting into the gym. Like, people don't realize these things. If you're a personal trainer or online coach and you're trying to get clients and you're like, this is my before, this is my after, but then someone clocks that you went on an app and you brought your waist in, you made your bum bigger or you made your biceps bigger, you're lying to them people. I've seen it in real life where I've seen someone on social media and I'm like, yeah, that person's got a really good physique. Then I've seen him in real life and I'm like, that can't be the same person.
What happened?
I'm like, that can't be the same person. Like, it's impossible.
Welcome back to Take a Seat. Today, I've got a celebrity personal trainer. He's trained people from Love Island, YouTubers, and he also knows a thing or two about nutrition. So please welcome Has Kem.
Thank you, mate.
How's it going, bro?
Yeah, really good. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, man. You're always looking like a Greek god, sort of, lovely tanned and, always on point.
Well, first things first, I'm actually Turkish. That's all right. No, I let you off there. No, that's cool. And yeah, man, I try and keep it matchy all the time.
Yeah, man. Wicked, man. Tell me what goes into your look. Because you look really aesthetically, like, for no homo thing.
Yeah.
You look beautiful. Do you know what I mean? Like, your skin, it looks like it's very, shiny. You got a nice tan and stuff. So, this you don't just wake up like this.
Nah. Obviously, like, since I was like young, I've always like had the thing of looking after myself. So like, I train hard. I eat good food. Obviously, everyone knows having good nutrition obviously helps a massive factor the way you look, and obviously like, your skin and stuff like that. So I'm not saying obviously I don't have any cheat meals or anything like that. But during the week, like Monday to Saturday, I'm like 10-10 on my food. And obviously Sunday or Saturday night, I have like a little cheat meal and stuff like that. But I just genuinely just look after myself, obviously using, good skincare.
What do you use for your skincare?
So I've actually got a friend of mine who does like obviously skincare treatment and stuff like that. She always like, obviously we call it the Has package. So I go in there, I'm like, listen, her name's Emily. So I'm like, listen, I need a Has package. So she'll obviously sort me out. But yeah, it's amazing to obviously look after yourself.
How important is your look? Because some people can say you're vain, but how important is the way you look, walk, talk, feeling?
For me, it's important. Only because I think obviously as a kid when I was growing up, being in school and stuff like that, I wasn't really a confident person as a kid. I was always small. I was skinny. I think a couple of times I actually got bullied in school. So for me, when I came out of school, I already knew that, I wanted to kind of be in that world of like looking after myself. And obviously I used to look at other people and think, that person looks really, really good. Do you know what? If they could do it, I could do it. So for me, it's been always important to obviously look after myself.
Yeah. Do you know what? Obviously, I'm around gym environment as well, but do you notice some of the biggest, strongest bodybuilders, they're coming from a place of pain where they've been bullied in the past?
Yes and no. Majority of the time, it's actually quite a tricky question, but majority of the time, I think a lot of people in a similar situation, but no one kind of talks, like they never dig deep of why they've become like that, like why they go to the gym. It's something like, I always say to people when they want to, like my client's example, if you want to get a result, yeah, like what's the why? Everyone wants to obviously get a beach body, everyone wants to get big, everyone wants to get toned, but there's always a deeper reason why someone wants to do something. And I always say it, like even when I assess students at Focus Fitness, and we do like consultations with them, and when they're talking about their goals, I always say to them, like, you have to find out the client's why. Why is it they want to achieve that? Most of the time people are like, I want to get healthy. And you got to dig deeper. You got to be like, cool, why do you want to get healthy? What makes you think you're not healthy now? Then they'll turn around and say something like, I went to the park last week with my kid. After 5 minutes, I was out of breath. So now you've kind of tapped a little bit more deeper. So now you know, cool, you're actually doing it for your kid because obviously you want to be fitter and healthier for your kid. So obviously I always get them to use that as ammo. So one day when the client does phone them and say, you know what, example like Has, I'm really tired today. I went out over the weekend. I can't be bothered to come into today's session. I'm like, cool. Do you remember why you told me why you wanted to get fit and healthy? Because you're a kid. Then that obviously sends a signal to the brain and like, you know what, let me get up off my lazy ass and let me go to that training session.
Wow. So you're finding that sort of that pain point of them to go bounce back off that.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure majority of the people who go to the gym, there is a pain point, for them. That's why they go to the gym. A lot of people go to the gym for their mental health. Obviously, we all go to the gym. Sometimes the gym's not just to develop your physique. Yes, it plays a massive part in it, but also it is to help people with their mindset and be around people. So
Yeah, I hear you. You look amazing, and I know
thank you, man.
you've competed as well. And for those who don't know what competing is, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so obviously, competing obviously in bodybuilding shows. I've done fitness model in the past. I've done fitness model shows. So it's obviously something that I've always wanted to do. So even when I first got into the fitness industry, I had it in the back of my mind that one day I am going to compete. And I've always been quite strict with training and stuff like that. But I wanted to take my physique to another level. And I knew to take my body to another level, I needed to make some investment. So obviously I had to invest in a coach. I've got a coach, Jace. I've been with him for over 4 years. And, when you're on this journey with these people, it becomes, he's more than a coach to me. He's like a big brother. He helps me out in life. Even when I've gone through hard times, he's always there, checking if I'm all right. So I invested in a coach. I've been with him, like I said, for 4 years. And he helped me change my physique, like massively. He gave me a lot more knowledge. I learned a lot from him. And even when I first got with him, he said to me, what's the goal? And I said to him, you know what, Jace? I want to compete. And he goes, okay, cool. He goes, so that's the goal. I'm like, yeah. So obviously I stuck with him first year, done everything he told me to do. And then obviously one day I woke up and I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready. I want to compete. And I texted him and I said, Jace, I'm ready to compete, And he goes, nah. He goes, nah. He goes, you're not ready. And I was like, wow. But I loved it because he was honest with me. He goes to me, I don't want you to go on stage for the sake of being on stage. He goes, if we go on stage, I want you to go looking like the best hash you've ever been and win that show. And touch wood, every show I've done with him, I placed first. I did a PCA, which I placed second. I got invited to the British finals. I've did 2 bros with him, about 2 or 3 of them where I come first. I've done Miami Pro. So I've done a lot of shows with him. And like I said, every single show I've done, I've come first and second. And like I said, it's been a massive experience. It's taught me a lot about myself, about having a strong mindset. So yeah, anyone who wants to compete, I'll definitely say best thing to do is invest in a coach and obviously, just have a strong mindset because there's going to be times when you're on that journey, you're going to have ups and downs. There's going to be times when you're too tired, you feel a bit crampy, you feel like you're snapping at people because obviously, your nutrition's gone low, like your calorie intake's gone low. But again, it's having a strong mindset. And I think having good people around you play a massive part in it. And listening to stuff like podcasts, motivational speakers. Because I remember when I used to get up at, say, 4 a.m. in the morning, I used to get to the gym at 5 a.m. and I used to do an hour on a Stairmaster. And I used to be on there, even 10 minutes in, I used to clock watch. I was like, oh my God, I still got another 50 minutes. How am I going to get through this? Then I'll put my AirPods in, watch something motivational, listen to these speakers, and they will motivate me. And then it was slowly lighting that fire back in my stomach. So they're the stuff that I'll definitely recommend for people.
How hard is it to compete?
I'll be honest with you, from my experience, I can't obviously talk from other people's experience. I could only go by mine. It's not easy. Yeah. It's not for everyone because again, it's not like you're just being you're living a healthy, active lifestyle, like just eating good food and stuff like that, you've got to really, really graft. There's no, oh, I'm not going to do it today, I'll do it tomorrow. There's no such thing like that. You got to make sure your meals are 10-10 on point. You got to make sure you're doing your cardio. You got to make sure you're training. You got to make sure when you're going to the gym, you're training like you're giving everything. Like you're leaving the gym with nothing in your tank. And my coach always says to me, listen, when you go to the gym, yes, there's going to be days when you can't give 100%, but you give whatever you've got on that day. If it means that, you're going to throw up, then you know what, you throw up and you carry on. Like there's no obligations. Like that is the goal. You wanted to do it. You wanted to put yourself through it. He's just the guidance that's going to help me obviously to reach that goal.
And what about the science behind it? So, like, you learn something new every single competition. Before you're going to go on stage in that morning, there's some people laying on the floor with their legs up to get that blood flow in them. There's some people having jam, some people having peanut butter, some people, there's all these different things that are going on. When I competed, I was told to have a Zinger Tower burger because of the salt content, sodium to fill up before I quickly go, in the next couple of hours on stage. Because make sure you yam that down so you're exploding. And I just couldn't understand it. Do you know what I mean?
There's definitely a lot of science what go behind it, 100%. And I think a lot of coaches out there, they do things differently. When I was competing, and obviously, before you compete, they do like a little intro of what's going to happen in the day and stuff like that. And obviously, you're sitting next to obviously other people who are competing with you, and you're seeing some of them got some meals, some of them got rice cakes and jam, some of them got chicken and peanut butter or chicken and jam, some of them are having a shot of vodka.
Oh yeah.
So there's loads of different ways of doing it. I remember when I competed, I had rice cakes, jam, I had peanut butter. And I'll be honest with you, on that day, just anything you have just tastes unbelievable because like you've got like crazy cravings happening on that day. But yeah, everyone's different. And I think, yeah, there is a lot of science what goes behind it. But I think it all depends on people's experience, like as coaches and stuff like that. Because like I said, I had, when I was competing, my coach had a different method. And when I was looking at everyone else around the room, you could see every coach had a different method of getting them ready for that stage.
Mm-hmm. What works for you then? Because you must have tried a few different things before getting on stage. Like, what makes you pump out more or get you veiny? Or
For me, I've always been very veiny. Like even when I used to play football, even before I started, going into the gym, like before the fitness industry, I always had like veins because I used to play like football as a kid. I was just always really quite toned, but I was very, very slim. On the day when I was competing to get me filled out and stuff like that, because I've got quite a fast metabolism as well. So I remember I think it was about my coach got me to I think it was like 4 very small meals, like maybe something like 80 to 90 grams of rice, maybe something like 100 grams of chicken. They were like really small portions of meals. And obviously he said to me like add obviously jam into it as well. And I'll never forget I had like 4 meals like that. Again, I had rice cakes and jam. And obviously before I went on stage, it was like maybe 5 to 10 minutes before I went on stage, I had rice cakes, I had jam again. I had like a Lucozade Sport, just obviously get the sugar in as well. And then obviously I was backstage, obviously getting a pump, doing certain workouts, like just a bit of biceps, a bit of side raises, some back rows, just to kind of get the physique more pumped, to step on stage.
mm-hmm. And what complements the food? So, what sort of supplements are you having, like in terms of, on a daily basis, like cod liver oil tablets, magnesium? Like, what's a stack?
So obviously I have, do you know what? I'll be honest with you, there's loads of supplements I take. I take stuff like normal vitamins, vitamin C's, creatine, BCCAs, collagen, whey protein, glutamine. So I've got a lot of supplements that I use that I actually get from Power Up Supplement in Leighton.
Big up, Fab.
Yeah, big up Fab. Thank you, bro. Always looking after me. So yeah, to be fair, like that's my stack. And one thing I like about that as well is the supplements help. Obviously, you hear it from a lot of people. You know, you see it on like a lot of like YouTube videos or Instagram and stuff like that. Don't take supplements. Do it this way and do it that way. And I always say to people, like, you got to go by how your body adapts to things, because what might work for one might not work for all. Sometimes, obviously, people take supplements not because it's an easier option or anything like that, but some people just genuinely don't have the time to prep their meals. So obviously, I'd always say to them, listen, you're better to have some supplements in between than starving yourself, or going to McDonald's and getting, you know, 3, 4 hamburgers or whatever it is. You're better to have the supplements. The supplements are a guidance to fill in the gaps between. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, 100. Something that a lot of bodybuilders go into is obviously they hit a ceiling to what naturally the body can go by. So they're eating well, they're training hard, and then they hit this sort of block, change their training up. And then, you know, normally other people in the gym or a coach might suggest steroids,
Yep.
you know, to get to the next level in terms of, hey, you're going to be competing. There's other guys who are twice the size as you. There's no way you can do this naturally. When is the right time to start using steroids? What's the consequences of steroids? What advice do you need? How is it safe? Can you talk to us a little bit about this topic?
Yeah, cool. So again, for me, when I was young, obviously, you know, I had no idea about anything. I didn't understand about nutrition. I didn't even understand about gym. I was a new goer in the gym. I was that skinny boy. I was looking at everyone else in the gym, like lifting all these heavy weights. And I was like, you know what? I want to be like that. Like one day I want to be like that. And it was funny enough because when I was a kid, a girl once turned around and said to me, "Oh, like you're too skinny. Like you're really skinny," and that really knocked my confidence down. I was like, "Wow," like, you know. And she called me like a dweeb as well, and I was like, "Wow," like she's like cussing me. So from that moment, that's what actually, funny enough, that was my pain point at that time when I was like young. I think I was about 19 or 20 at the time, and I was like, from that moment, that's what got me into the gym. And then from there, obviously, when I started training hard, obviously, I got into, obviously, you know, understanding a little bit more about nutrition, a little bit more about training. And obviously, again, like you say, you know, 15 or whatever, 20 years down the line, obviously, you know, this is the stage I'm at now. Yeah, eventually you're gonna plateau. Yeah. There's people who do it naturally. I'm not saying everyone's on steroids. I've got friends who look amazing and I know they're natural, or they've told me they're natural. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, as a coach, you know, even like I do online coaching myself, but even as my coach, Jace, they never ever put it on you and say, this is what you need, this is what you got to do. Yeah, they talk about the subject, yeah, but they'll never turn around and say to you, like, yeah, you need to have steroids. It all depends on you as a person. Yeah, like I wanted to take my physique to the next level. So I was happy to go in that. And I'm that one who actually asked Jace about it, because when I was younger, even before I started training, you know, everyone has that mindset of, oh, you know what, like if I do one jab, I might wake up the next day and be like Superman. So I was like, you know, when I was like really, really young, I think I was like maybe like 18, like I'd done it once or twice. Yeah, but I didn't know what I was putting in me. I didn't know anything about it. I just got told, yeah, inject this in you and you're going to get big. Obviously, I was naive. I was a kid. I didn't really understand anything. I was just going by what other people were telling me. So then from there, obviously, I never touched anything for like years. And then obviously when I got my coach, obviously he guided me, you know, with everything that I needed to know. And he does everything like proper. It's not like you're abusing it, like you're doing certain courses. When you come off, you need to do blood tests, you need to check everything. So definitely that's why I think having a coach helps you massively, not just to get you to the physique that you want, but also having that guidance. Because I know for a fact, from going by what I knew before I met Jace, if I try to obviously do that myself, mate, I would have probably been laying in some hospital bed
Yeah.
or something, because I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know about dosages. I wouldn't know what to put with what. I wouldn't know how many times. I wouldn't know what meals to take. I wouldn't know, like, if you're supposed to buy it offline, online, or what. Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely. And the reason why I touched on this topic is because there's a lot of people might be watching this right now and think that's the easiest option. They've heard of, I don't know, Trainable, or this, and this is a mass, one for mass, this one gets you lean, and people are blindly taking this stuff, because they want a shortcut. They're going to the gym and they're going, yeah, I'll take a bit of this and I'll get big. And they're not, some of these lot are not even competing.
I'll be honest with you, and I always say this to people: there's no shortcut. Yeah, people, again, like you're saying, people think taking steroids is a shortcut, and it's not a shortcut, because when you're taking something like that and you're putting that in your body, you need to train even harder than you would naturally, and you need to eat even more food and more healthy food than you would naturally. Do you see what I mean? So it's not like you're going to take it and you're going to go to the gym, like just do a couple of reps, do a bit of cardio, I'll eat a couple of meals a day. No, it don't work like that. When you're taking that stuff, everything needs to be on point. Your food needs to be on point. Your training needs to be on point. Like I said, you got to be going in the gym and leaving like you've left nothing. You've left nothing in the gym. You got nothing in. You've left everything in that tank is done. Like, you can't give anything else. And the same with your food. You can't afford to have slip ups, when you're competing. And yeah, there's people obviously who take that stuff because, they just want to get big. But I always say to people as well, like, if you're not competing, or you ain't got no future plans in competing, like, at stage, is it worth taking that? Because you're not competing. To walk around on the beach all big and bulky, is it really worth it? Like, you can actually do it naturally. It might take you a lot longer, but again, like, if you're using that stuff, then everything needs to be on point. Like, you need to train even harder. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. They think, yeah, if I take something, I'm going to get there quicker. And it's not. You have to work harder. And I think that's why I always say to people, look, when people look at other people in the gym and they're like, yeah, that he's on steroids. Yeah, that guy might be on steroids, but it doesn't mean he got there in 3 months, 4 months. That's probably like years of work. That guy's been working hard. While people were sleeping, that guy was probably up at 5 a.m. doing a cardio or getting into the gym. Like, people don't realize these things.
On the news, I've heard so many like famous bodybuilders dying very young. I think recently, you probably know his name more than me.
Yeah.
Is someone who's just 31. There was that other massive bodybuilder, Rich Piana, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he passed away. Like, so many bodybuilders pass away young, and it feels like, is bodybuilding really a healthy sport?
Personally, I don't think it is a healthy sport. Even though, like, I'm in that field, I don't think it's healthy. But again, it all depends on, what people want to do in their life. Like, are they going to compete? Are they going for a pro card? Are they trying to get to that higher level in the bodybuilding industry? Are they trying to create a name for themselves? So yeah, it could be, some people might say, yeah, it's not healthy. Some people might say it is healthy.
But the question is, at what price? They build a name, a brand. Like, for example, let's look at Ronnie Coleman. Yeah, he's actually not even that old. Guy's about 54, 55. I think we saw him in the zone, last year. And the guy can't even walk. He's on crutches and it's like, he's crippled. And I'm sorry to say, because I'm a massive fan of him, but in his prime, man, that guy looked like a god. What? Your motivation. You still listen to his stuff to get motivated. And he actually does say that if he had to do it all over again, he'll do it again. 7 times, 8 times, Mr. Olympia champion. From going to where he was to where he is now, I'm like, average life expectancy of a man is about 70, 71. That's average. But if you have a good life, maybe 80, you still got 20, 30 years to go. And this is what you've done to yourself. Was it really worth it?
Are you asking if it's worth it for me?
No.
Or are you just generally saying...
Just generally what people go for that name. That yes, he's famous. Yes, people know him in the bodybuilding world. He's like the
Yeah, yeah,
god
he's
of
up
it.
there.
He's up there, but how is he waking up every morning? Thinking, what have I done?
Yeah, listen, again, I can't speak for Ronnie Coleman. Listen, I'm a massive fan of him. I think that guy is like a god. Yeah, I've met him quite a few times, at Zone, at the body power shows and stuff like that. That guy inspires me. But again, for him, that was the path he chose to go down. So for him, maybe, again, for him, like he said, if he had the chance to do it all over again, he'll do it all over again. Maybe for him, he just absolutely loved it. He loved inspiring people. He loved being able to kind of inspire people to push themselves to their limits. Obviously, the stuff that he's taking and stuff like that, I don't know if it's worth it or not.
Yeah. I think he knew he had a back problem and they kept telling him, you got to stop going so heavy. Which brings me nicely on to my next topic, actually. Ronnie Coleman went heavy. Everything was just about heavy, heavy, heavy. Can you train more smart? So some people train a little bit lighter with more reps. So, for example, to create that hypertrophy. So, first of all, what is hypertrophy?
So before we go into that, first things first that I will turn around and say is that there's no right or wrong way of training. If you're doing hypertrophy or whatever you're doing, it don't matter if you're doing higher reps, if you're doing lower reps. I always say to people, you have to adapt to what your body could do. Yeah, like if sometimes I'll go to the gym and I'll see someone benching like 4 plates each side. I'm like, wow, that guy is strong. It doesn't mean that, yeah, I want to be able to do that as well, but it doesn't mean that that is the smartest way for me to train, because that guy's physique and that guy's power is completely different from mine. Does that make sense? So I always say to people, you have to try different methods. There's loads of different methods of training. You've got stuff like doing negatives. You've got stuff like doing false reps. Yeah. You got giant sets. You got pyramids. So there's loads of different methods that you could kind of train at. And I always say to people, like, you have to go by what your body is able to do at the time. And again, when your body starts plateauing, that's the time when you start obviously changing different methods. So when I first started going to the gym, or actually, it's not when I first started going to the gym, but when I was basically competing, my coach gave me a program and he set out a program for me to do. And he showed me, obviously, this is how many sets you're going to do. This is how many reps you're going to do, right? Then obviously every 8 to 10 weeks, he used to change my program. And I'll never forget, once I turned around and said to him, why do we only change it like every 8 to 10 weeks? He said to me, listen, it takes 8 to 10 weeks for your body to adjust to that program. Yeah. So once your body's obviously adjusted to that program, that's the time to change it. And then obviously he gave me another program and he said, cool, this time we're going to basically do the movements a lot more slower. So we're going to basically go into everything, every exercise we do, no matter if it's a lat pull down, if it's a bench press, if it's biceps, whatever that exercise is, we're going to go into negatives. So we're going to basically slow the movement right down to stress the muscle. And I'll be honest with you, when I started to pack on a lot more muscle, that was basically when I started to see a lot of change in my body, when I started going negatives. Even up to now, I've been doing it for probably about a year, maybe a year and a half. I've been kind of training a little bit similar. I've changed the exercises, but I'm always trying to do negatives. The reason why is I always say to people, like, when I first started doing negatives, I started on, say, 25 kg dumbbells on an incline. Yeah. So when I knew I could do 25 kgs on an incline in the negative, I'm like, cool, I need to go heavier now. Then I went to 30. When I started to do more reps, I went to 35, 40, 45, 50. And now I'm actually touching doing 60 kg dumbbells on an incline. Don't get me wrong, some of them will be negatives, obviously at the start, because obviously you've got a lot more energy in there. But then towards the end, obviously you might have a little spot and a couple of them might be false reps. So for me, training, there's no right or wrong way. I always say to people, you have to go by how you feel, and once you plateau, then obviously change the method, because otherwise, it's you could kind of get sucked in by copying other people, and it's like if you watched the way I eat, and obviously you saw the stuff that I was posting on social media, like on my stories, and seeing, oh, do you know what? I see how much grams of food Hassan's eating. I'm going to copy exactly what he's doing. That's not going to work for you. We've both got different body types. And it's the same with training. Just because one person's training one way, it don't mean that is the right way. Like, you have to try different things. And that's why I always say, like, having a coach is such a good investment, because you learn so much from them.
That's amazing, like that you've raised that point, actually, because one of the first things that I done was a genetic test on my muscle fibers. I don't know if
Okay.
you've ever done that one.
No. Tell me, like,
Yeah,
how's that?
so basically, if you told me to do a 5K now, I'll run a little bit here and there, but if you told me to do a 5K now, I'd do it. Like, some people will be having a heart attack. But if you tell me to bench 100, it's very, very difficult. Even though my chest is the biggest thing about me, it looks like I bench a lot. I just ain't like gifted in terms of that strength. Like, weight training is very, very difficult for me, but I do it because I want to keep my strength up, and I think that's important. Running, I don't really have to do it that much, but if you tell me to do it, I can do it. And it came up in this genetic test. It said your muscle fibers are, you're basically a 2 out of 10 for lifting, but you're like a 8 out of 10 for, when it's like when you can run, like your body's more adapted to be a runner sort of style. So when I gave that to one of my coaches, it actually helped him to build a program for me to say, look, you can do, programs like HIIT training really work on
Okay.
me. So you're doing a bit of cardio, but then you're doing a little bit weighted sort of cardio as well with it. And that's when I start getting more leaner, more stronger, so all of these, extra things, like what you're trying to say is, not one thing works for everybody. I can't look at your sort of diet, but so many people do. So many people just go to YouTube and go, what's the best diet? And they feel that they're going to get that same level as what they're going to get one-on-one with somebody who's training them like yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And again, I think that comes down to mindset. Like, where's people's mindset at? Like, a lot of people, again, like we touched on, obviously, the steroids, a lot of people will use that as the quick route. Yeah, so obviously, again, when it comes to nutrition plans, listen, I've had people before message me, and they're like, can I get a program off you? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Obviously, you send them a consultation, you go through everything, you work out their macros and stuff like that. You find the foods they like, the foods they dislike. Because obviously, listen, when you're doing a nutrition plan, reason why you ask them the food you like and dislike, if you put something on there that you dislike, you might say to me, Hass, I don't like chicken. I'm not going to sit there and put chicken in your plan, because I'm setting you up for failure, because it means you're not going to stick to it because you don't like it. So obviously I need to try and make it interesting and something what's going to be suitable for you, to obviously help you stay on track, that you're going to enjoy and enjoy the process and get you the results. And going back to obviously the program. So when I was doing the programs, obviously there's been times when I've done a program for a specific client, right? They've got an amazing result, let's say, yeah? And they will go and either sell that program to someone else, or let's say they gave that program to someone else and said, do this, this can get you results. But guess what? It doesn't work like that. That program's specifically done for your body, for your measurements. Yeah? So again, I think it always comes down to obviously mindset. Like, I always say to people, have in your head, when you're looking to get a physique, have in your head, what is the long-term goal, not the short-term. Yeah, you see it all the time. We're in May now. People going on holiday in August, and then they'll message you like they might be booking a holiday for the end of August, and they'll message you like the beginning of August or the end of July and be like, yeah, listen, I'm going on holiday. I need to lose some weight, or I want to pack on muscle. I'm like, yeah, cool, no problem. When's your holiday? They're like, in 4 weeks. Listen, I told him straight, I'm not a magician. It doesn't work like that. I'm not going to take someone's money just for the sake of it and, yeah, do the program for them, yeah, like work out their macros and stuff like that. But I know in 4 weeks' time, that person's not gonna get to where they realistically want to be because it's only 4 weeks. So I always say to people, like, if you know you're going on holiday, start early. Why leave it till the last minute? There's a lot more than obviously eating healthy gets you the results. You know, again, going to the gym, yeah, doing your cardio, doing your weights, eating healthy, having a positive mindset, not being stressed. We all know having stress, being stressed is the worst thing for you. Yeah. And even stuff what happens in life, you know, you go through some bad stuff in life and it throws you off everything. For me, you know, I think last year or 2 years ago, I'll say, was probably like the hardest year that I went through in life. Like I you know, experienced some like crazy stuff what was happening in my life, and I was just like, wow. And it was throwing me off my training, and nothing in the world has ever thrown me off training.
Wow.
I've always been, you know, consistent. You know, even stuff like on Christmas days, New Year's days, you know, on like, you know, Eids and stuff like that, I always went to the gym no matter what. It was no negotiable for me. It was like, I'm getting in the gym no matter what. And obviously I went through some hard times in my life, or I say it was hard times at the time. And having my coach and having certain friends there played a massive part to me. And everyone was like very supportive for me, you know, the stuff that I was going through. And again, like having training there helped me massively. Like always think to myself again, it's not, this is why I say to people, sometimes people are not going to the gym just to get that physique. Sometimes people are going there to obviously for their mental health, like to keep positive, to stay positive. I know people are going through like some crazy stuff now. Don't get me wrong, the issues I went through compared to what some of my friends have gone through, my issues are nothing. Do you see what I mean? And when I see my friends going through like really bad stuff and I see them going in the gym and they're training hard, I'm like, you know what? That guy is he's a fucking soldier. Like he's a soldier. The stuff he's going through, like if I went through something like that, I don't know how I would be. But seeing him inspires me to even go even more. Because we always like look at ourselves and be like, you know what? We're going through hard stuff. Listen, I'm not saying no one's going through hard stuff. I'm not saying I ain't been through some hard stuff. But what's going on around the world, your issues or your problems, what you're going through, are probably so tiny. When I was going through problems, like, this is the biggest problem. This is the biggest issue. What's going on? But then when you look at around the world and you see, you know, people passing away, you know, the stuff what's going on in the world, you're like, you know what? Like, be grateful, man. Be grateful that you could wake up in the morning, you got a roof over your head, you got food on the table. Yeah, you might not have loads of money, but you know what? You're alive. And I think sometimes, you know, we all go through that. Even me, sometimes I'll go through like once in a while. I'm like I'll just, not that I'm being ungrateful, but I get a bit lost. And I'm like, oh man, I feel like I'm not doing good enough. Like I'm not at the level I should be at. But then obviously I've got to like kind of snap out of that and be like, no, you know what? Be grateful. You're alive. You got food. You got a house that you live in. You got a warm bed. Be grateful and shut up and stop moaning. Do you see what I mean? I think everything what we're speaking on always falls down to having a positive mindset and doing something what keeps you on track, like being positive, listening to obviously motivational speakers and stuff like that. Like personal development to me is the biggest thing that's ever changed me in my life. Before personal development, I was a very angry kid. A very angry kid. I was getting into fights every weekend. Like I was terrible. There were some days that my mum didn't know if I was going to come home or not. Wow. That's how troubled I was. And not a lot of people actually know this side of me because they're like, I can't imagine you like that. But I was like a very troubled kid. Like I was so naughty. And getting into the gym and personal development, them two things absolutely changed me. They changed me for better. I became a better person. I became calm. I learned a lot more about myself. I knew everything what happens in life is not personal. It's just a challenge. And obviously, yeah, sometimes again I lose track and I'm like, oh man, why is this happening to me? But I'm very quick now to change my thought, to snap out of it and be like, no, you know. I'll listen to people like Jim Rohn or Tony Robbins, and I always hear the stuff what they say, and I'm like, yeah. If that was Jim Rohn or if that was Tony Robbins, what would he say to you right now? And then I quickly try and snap out of that mindset. It's a challenge. It's hard. It's not easy, but the more you do it, repetition, the better you get at it. And listen, I'm not saying I'm at the point in my life where I'm 100% happy. There's a lot more things that I want to be able to do in life and stuff like that. But I know every day when I wake up, I'm giving everything I can to obviously move forward. Even if it's a little inch or whatever it is, one step forward, you know, as long as I'm not going backwards, that's fine. And yeah, there might be times when you feel like you're going backwards, but guess what? You got to get up and go again, no matter what. You always hear it all the time. You know, there's going to be times you're going to fall. Main thing is, it don't matter how many times you fall. It means how many times can you get up and go. And that's one thing my coach always said to me. Yeah, you fell. You know what? Get up, go again. Get up, go again. Get up, go again. It's the same thing. Nothing changes. No matter what happens in your life, you can't do anything.
I love that. Talk a lot about mindset there, Has. How do you get up on stage looking the best you've ever looked? Pecs out there, abs out there, low body fat, everyone cheering you on, the medal around your neck, maybe that sword, and then you get home and the show's done. And the coach is like, hey, you deserve a couple of days off now, you know? And the coming weeks come and you're not at that top level anymore. You know, you're filling up with even water, you know, where
Mate.
you've dehydrated yourself. And other people will still be like, oh my gosh, you look amazing. But to yourself, you're like, what did I do? Like, why couldn't I just stay like that? You know, when I was on stage. How do you deal with that?
Mate, for me, that's a very sore subject. I'll get into it right now. Only because, mate, I went through it. Exactly what you're saying, I went through it. I learned the hard way. I literally learned the hard way. I went on stage. I looked the best I did. I placed first. And, you know, I was taking pictures outside with everyone. I was buzzing. I was in my element. I was like, this is like an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah.
My coach was like, you know what? Take a couple of days off, you know, relax, you know, eat, but don't go mental. He said to me, be careful. Yeah. But the thing is, he actually said this to me the night before I went on stage. He goes, listen, once you finish your show, be careful with the food you're eating. I'm not saying don't eat, but be sensible, because obviously sometimes it could be really, really dangerous.
Yes.
So I was like, you know what? No problem. I go to him, Jace, don't worry about me. It's cool. I've got this, bro. I know exactly what I'm doing. Come after the show now. Obviously, like, my friends, my family were there, and they were like, let's go and get some food. So I was like, you know what? No problem. Like, you know what? I'm just going to have a Five Guys. So I'll never forget, we went to Five Guys, and I had 2 burgers, the large fries. You know, obviously, about Five Guys fries. You ask for a large, mate, and you're getting like 5 bags. You know, there's so much chips in there. Finished that. I had 2 milkshakes. And after I ate that, I was like, my belly was a bit swollen, right? But then I had so much desserts that people brought to my show. People brought me stuff from Donut Time, from Krispy Kremes. Someone baked me a cake. Someone brought me like just loads of good stuff that obviously everyone knew I loved. And then I went home and they were all laid out on the table. I was like, you know what? I feel a bit peckish, you know? And anyone who knows me knows my weak spot is donuts. Don't put donuts in front of me. There's no like, I'll just have one, I have 2. Listen, if there's a box of 6, that 6 needs to go tonight. There's no like, I'm going to leave it tomorrow, because I know tomorrow I'm going to eat it. So in my mind, I'm like, listen, it needs to be done. Obviously, there was loads of stuff. I weren't getting through all of that, but I gave it a good go. And then I was like, that's it. I'm done tonight. Tomorrow, I'm getting back on it. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to go do my cardio. Guess what? I woke up in the morning, 5 o'clock, went to the gym, done my cardio. Mate, I went home. I fell back in the trap. But you know what? I'm going to have another donut. I'm going to have a cookie. Then I might go. I've never used, by the way, Deliveroo or Uber Eats or anything like that in my life. I wasn't even registered to it. Yeah, I downloaded the app, registered. I thought, well, like this is easy, man. I was ordering stuff like McDonald's that I don't even eat. I was ordering pizzas, and then next minute, next day I got up. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Like I said to Jace, look, I'm done, man. Like I've eaten so much. He's like, bro, you need to get back on it now. I'm like, cool. Guess what? Next day, falling back into the trap again. Mate, everything I was eating, I couldn't stop. It became like a drug to me. Like, I was like, the thing is, I know I'm doing wrong, but I couldn't stop. Like, I actually found it really, really hard. And I'll never forget, obviously, when you compete, obviously, you're in such a calorie deficit. And obviously, when you eat, your weight goes up so much. Not the fact that you're putting on fat, but obviously the water retention and stuff like that. So I never forget, in 8 days, it was about 8 or 9 days, I put on like 11 or 12 kg, right? And then I never forget, I went to like a conference meeting, and there was like loads of people in the room, and I haven't seen these people obviously since, maybe a week or 2 weeks before my show. Some of them come to my show to watch me, and someone come up to me and said, oh, like, what's happened to your face? Like, did you get some treatment done? Like, did you get some fillers or something? I was like, no, why? Like, your cheeks are all puffed out and stuff like that. Oof. And I was like, and obviously, like we spoke about earlier, I'm very like looks away, like I'm like, everything's about looks to me, like on myself. So, and that's not me being vain, just the way I am as a person. Yeah. And I was like, wow, this person's telling me like basically my face has gone chubby. So I thought I need to get back on it, right? And then one night I went out with a few friends, and they took a picture of us like on the table just eating food. And I said, oh, let me see that photo. And they showed me the photo. I was like, boys, you lot better not fucking post that photo on social media. I'm not letting anyone post that photo. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my God. Like, from that moment when I saw that photo, I was like, I'm done. Like, I need to basically stop this bullshit now and get back on track. And it was after that photo what changed everything for me. I was like, that's it. I'm in. I'm done. I said to my coach, Jace, I said, bro, I've learnt my lesson. It's not going to happen again. Next time, obviously, I did my shows. Everything went so smoothly because I learnt my lesson. But for me, mate, that was a very sore thing. Like, the stuff I went through, it's hard. And I will say to people now, if you're competing or anything like that, like, don't make the same mistake. Like, if you're going to do a show, do your show. Your coach is going to advise you, whoever your coach is. But my advice would be, don't go mental on the food. Yes, have a cookie or chocolate or whatever you want after the show, and have some downtime with your friends and family and enjoy it. But be very wary of how much you're eating, how much you're consuming, and how long, how many days you're doing it for. Because it could easily be done. I did it for about basically a week, every single day, without stopping. It was only because, my mates were obviously going to post that photo, and I saw that photo. I was like, mate, you ain't posting that. So you're not posting that. You post that, I'm unfollowing you. I'm going to block every single one of you. Like, that photo was not going on social media. And years ago, when I got back into shape, obviously I did a before and after photo, like a face picture. It was like how I was after my show, like after like 12 days, and how I am now. And honestly, like, I just couldn't believe, like, I actually allowed that to happen to myself. Like, it actually made me feel ill. Like, I felt depressed. Like, I felt sad. I was like, what have you done to yourself? Like, your coach told you about this, but also, I'm not gonna, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. That I wasn't gonna like go by his guidance. And I think for me, that was the biggest mistake like I made when I was competing.
I mean, psychologically, physically, you can not look right and not feel good about it, but psychologically also of looking at peak. And it's like if I get a job and I get a salary of 70,000, I'm now used to getting 70,000. I'm going to aim for 75,000, 80,000. If I bought a house, I want to buy another house, buy another house. If I've got a business, I've got 10 clients, I want 11 clients, 20 clients, I want online. It's like when you get to that best peak performance of what you look like, and then you have to accept that actually that's not every day. That's just for a show. And I'm not going to walk around on a daily basis like that. How do you tell yourself that it's okay to just be in a good athletics shape and walk around how you're walking, but you're not going to be that chiseled as you was on stage? Because for some people, that can be very hard to accept, because you show somebody a competition picture and they go, well, why don't you look like that now? People don't understand that.
Yeah.
You know, people see me compete my competition picture and go, wow, how many years ago was that? I was like, 3 years ago. And it's like, you look like a baby here, but you do when you're every little bit of fat's gone and
Yeah,
you've
of
got
course.
chisel. And I'm like, and I know psychologically, hey, I'm not too far off that. It's a good 3 to 4 month hardcore diet, low sugar fat, low sugar carbs. You know, what I was doing, I could pretty much replicate that, but other people have opinions like that, and then all the demons come out. Do you know what I mean? Like people going, why are you not looking at? And then you're like, yeah, why don't I look like that? You know, how do you accept to say it's okay the way I am right now because I'm still looking good?
Again, it comes down to obviously mindset. Yeah, there's been times when I competed and I was like that. I was like, wow, man, like, I feel like I just kept looking at my body. I kept like touching my body fat. I was like, yeah, like I'm getting a bit fluffy. Like, what's going on? But realistically, when you're competing, that's not a healthy look or a healthy stage to be at all year round. Like competing, you're battering your body. Like you're absolutely battering your body. Yeah. You can't do that all year round. Yes, you can look lean all year round. Yeah. But obviously to an extent. Having a beach body healthy lifestyle and having a shredded body who's competing, two different looks.
So why does the industry make it look like you need to look like that? You pick up a Men's Health magazine and you see this guy biting his bottom lip, full six pack pecs out there. But even that guy has dieted for the last 3 days on like water and fruit to try and get, his body lean for
Yeah.
that photo shoot. And then you see him in another picture and like, you don't look like that Men's Health. But that's what they portray, that you need to look like that.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what they do. But again, I always say to people, everything you see in these magazines or social media, don't believe it. Don't believe it. Because listen, I've seen thousands of people's photos edited on social media of their bodies, and they don't look like that in real life. There's people making like they've got Instagram accounts who are basically bringing that up now. And you know what? Like some people class it as, oh, that particular person's bullying that other person, right? And in a way, I don't. This is just my opinion. I don't think they're bullying that person. They're just calling them out. Yeah, like if you're classing yourself as, example, a personal trainer or online coach, right? And you're trying to get clients or trying to sell nutrition plans, and you're like, this is my before, this is my after. But then someone clocks that you went on an app and you brought your waist in, you made your bum bigger, or you made your biceps bigger, or you made your chest look like you're lying to them people. You're trying to sell something to them people. And I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I see it all the time on social media. I've seen it in real life where I've seen someone on social media and I'm like, yeah, that person's got a really good physique. Then I've seen him in real life and I'm like, that can't be the same person.
What happened?
I'm like, that can't be the same person. Like, it's impossible. Filters, again, waist in, bums bigger, So I always say to people, like, you can't believe what you see on social media. Social media is a very toxic thing that if you get sucked into that, listen, I used to do it when I was younger. I used to look at people's lifestyles with all the flashy cars or, the amazing physiques and the big houses and all the holidays. And I was like, wow, man, these people are killing life. But then yeah, they might be killing life, but then there's a lot of people who are not killing life. People are only going to show the good stuff they want. Listen, I'm not going to post on social media, I'm having the worst day of my life, or when I feel like, you know, I'm just saying, just me, like genuinely, like I'm having a really, really bad day and I'm being all negative. Like, I'm not going to post that on social media. Not because I'm saying I'm trying to be fake. For me personally, listen, I'm trying to motivate my clients. I'm trying to inspire my clients. Now, if I'm posting something negative on social media, I've had the worst day, you know, this person's really pissed me off, or that person's, or this work and that work. Listen, you're not inspiring your clients. Do you know what I mean? Like when people obviously go through tough times, like we spoke about earlier, and something might happen in their life, and they're trying to obviously develop their physique. As a coach, as a personal trainer, you're there to listen to them, but give them an outcome of, cool, this is the problem, this is the solution for it, this is the outcome, let's get back on track. Now, if I'm being all negative, they're going to look at me and be like, listen, what are you trying to say to me? You had that day last week.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm a big fan on social media, like, as in, I will never ever post anything negative about, you know, on social media.
So where is your outlet?
Where's
your outlet when you are having a bad day?
when I'm having a bad day, again, I won't post it on social media. Yeah, I might go quiet, and a couple of people will message me like, "Bro, you all right?" They're like, "I haven't seen you posting your stories or anything. Like, usually you're posting the gym workouts or nutritions and stuff like that. Like, are you all right?" Then, like, so I think sometimes when people know, like, if I go quiet on social media, it's either I'm really, really busy, or I'm having a bad day, and I'm just keeping myself quiet till I sort my head out. Because it's easily done. Listen, I'm not saying I'm perfect. Yes, I still have bad days now. But again, like I said to you, like we spoke about mindset, I'm very quick to fix it now. But that's only because I've had good people around me. I've had good friends around me. You know, I've had a good coach around me who's helped me develop that. And even as a coach, like sometimes I say to like my coach, I'm like, you know what, bro? Like, I'm really grateful. Like sometimes I'm so grateful that I can't explain it to him. Because as a coach, his goal is to obviously, get me to the best physique I want. But some coaches don't realize, like, they help you a lot more without them realizing. Do you see what I'm saying? Like sometimes just having a chat, or just checking up on someone, like, hey bro, how are you? How's your day? Little things like that make a big difference to someone. Because you could be going through the worst time of your life. But if you just sent one message to say, hey bro, how are you? It takes 2 seconds to write that text. Do you see what I'm saying? And it makes a big difference to people. It made a big difference to me. You know, even sometimes I've got friends that I don't see them all the time. I might not see them for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. But whenever we see each other, it's left like how we last saw each other. Like, there's no like, oh bro, like you haven't seen me or anything like that. It's like, what's happening, bro? Like we just pick up from how we picked up. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, 100. On another note, we were talking about people who look perfect on the magazines. Plain devil's advocate here. You see now, somebody posted this the other day of CK, and it said CK 20 years ago is lady with the bikini on, looking amazing. Man in a nice trunks, looking like, you know, the part. And then it compared to now. And it was this lady who was a bit more plus sized, wasn't even like big hips, and it was like she was a little bit out of shape, and the guy was a little bit, funny looking as well, sort of thing, like not your typical, and you know, had a belly hanging out. And they go, how did we get from this to that? What do you think of that without body shaming, you know?
I'll be honest with you, this is a sore subject because I think so many people will have opinions on it. And one thing I'm definitely not into, and I definitely don't agree with, is body shaming. No matter if you're a plus or whatever you are, like, I think everyone deserves respect as long as you're trying to work towards something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I'm not body shaming anyone, so like, I don't want anyone to feel like I'm body shaming, because I'm not that sort of person.
100.
But yeah, going on to that subject, I think they've gone from making something look really sexy to this is like normal, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, I can't give the actual reason why they've done that, because I genuinely don't know. Maybe because there's a lot more people out there who feel more insecure about themselves, and they feel like, yeah, I'm never going to be able to look like that. So why are they advertising it like that? Maybe they're trying to open up the market and be like, you don't have to be in shape to be able to wear these, if that makes sense. But for me personally, like my opinion going for it, if I had that option and that option, being in the fitness industry, I know what option I'm going for. Yeah. Again, as a personal trainer, online coach, I'm not body shaming anyone, or this is just my opinion on it. If you're a personal trainer, I'm not saying you have to be all muscly and have a six pack or anything like that. But I think as a personal trainer, your goal is to obviously help people get in shape and inspire people. So I think you need to obviously be that identity to yourself. Like, I have to look like I train. I have to look like I live a healthy lifestyle. Do you see what I mean? And I think that falls in the same bracket. You know, if I'm a client, or if I wanted to go and buy, I don't know, if I saw an outfit and I saw someone who looks in really, really good shape, I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to buy that outfit because I've got this similar body. I might look like that. Yeah. Or if I'm a personal trainer, I'm not going to, how can I try and get clients if I'm out of shape?
Yeah. It's like if I'm going into a gym, I'm not going to go for the guy who's quite large. If I want a six pack, I'm going to look for the guy who's got a six pack to train me, right?
Yeah. And sometimes people say, yeah, but what about the knowledge on the person? And yeah, there's going to be some people who are out of shape, or who are really out of shape, who have got good knowledge. But then there's going to be some people who will have knowledge, maybe not as much as that person, but they're in shape. And if it was me, if I was starting my fitness journey and I wanted to get in shape and I looked at them two people, I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to go to the person who's in shape. Yeah, the other person might be more knowledgeable, but that person looks like he's got more consistency and dedication, and might be able to help me to get to where I want to go, because I want to look like that. I don't want to look like that. I want to look like this guy, you know, how he looks. So he could obviously help me get there because he's gone through that journey himself. And I think it's the same thing as obviously what you're saying about the CK. Like, you know, when you look at both of the images, I think they're just doing it just to cater for everybody in the world. And I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I don't really know myself what to really say on that. But I just know, for me, I like to eat healthy. I like to train hard. I like to look after myself. So I would rather see people looking healthy on posters and magazines and, you know, adverts and stuff like that.
I mean, the world is changing since we've been growing up, sort of thing as well, and it's evolving very differently. People are looking differently. People are identifying themselves as different. Like, it feels like the world's going into a very, very different sort of dimension. Do you know what I mean? Like, people are more on computers, they're swiping, and it feels like, you know, even one of my nieces said, she calls me Mama G. And she's like, Mama G, yeah. I said, how's school and that? She goes, yeah, I had a little fight with a girl. I was like, oh, okay, why? What happened? She goes, oh, she tried to body shame me. And it's like all these new terminologies coming up. And yeah, back in the days, we used to get bullied as well, you know, for certain things. And it's good that they bring these things up, but they've got a term, and, you know, it's like, what are you allowed to do? What are you allowed to say nowadays? You know, so another topic is women using steroids. What's your opinion on that? Because there's some women, like, you know, They want to take their performance to another level. But steroids is it feels like it's testosterone, and it's making, some people would say that it's making women look more like men. What's your opinion on that?
Again, this is just, my opinion. I think every individual has their own mindset if they want to take it or not. Going on to it, should females take steroids or not? Listen, if they're trying to develop their physique, they're trying to obviously go for that pro card, or they're trying to get onto stage, that's the path they've chosen. That's the path they need to go down. And I'm not saying it's right and I'm not saying it's wrong. Yeah, it's the same way. Why, is it okay for guys to take steroids, but then it's not okay for women to take steroids? Does that make sense?
What if people say that men are supposed to be like hunters, they're supposed to be big and strong, and women are not supposed to be built for that?
But again, the fitness industry is changing. So before, I don't know if you saw what the gyms were like years ago, it was more guys in the gym, yeah, and less women, or just your average female person going to the gym, just training, doing the normal stuff, like normal HIIT classes and stuff like that. You wouldn't see that much women in the actual gym lifting weights compared to now. When you go to a gym now, you see women lifting weights. And for me as a guy, I say it as, I'm like, you know what? Good on that person. Like, good on that female. Yeah. That female's obviously worked hard to get to the level she's at. Yeah, she might have used steroids. Yeah, some people might feel like, oh, because she's a female, she shouldn't use steroids. Listen, I know females who use steroids and they still look lady. They still look like a lady. They still could put a bikini on and look, amazing. They could still put on a dress and still look amazing. Do you see what I mean? And I just think it all depends on the like people's opinions. Don't really matter to the people who are actually taking it. Do you know what I mean? Because people could turn around and say to me, "Oh, like, yeah, like I don't agree with you taking steroids." Not in a horrible way. You might not agree with me, but not in a horrible way. Again, your opinion don't really matter to me because this is my goal. This is what I'm trying to get to. Mm-hmm. And it could be the same as the women. Yeah, you're asking me, like, is it right for them to take it or not? The answer is 50-50. Like, I don't think they should, and I don't think they shouldn't. It all depends. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, like, all women, none of them should take steroids. If that's what they want to do and that's where they want to take their physique to, then that's up to them. I don't think anyone's really got an opinion to kind of give unless they're in their shoes.
Do you think some of these women know the effects of some of these steroids, what it can do to their body? Because women are supposed to carry children, and maybe at this moment in time, she just wants to look really, really good, attract the right partner. She just wants to look aesthetically good. And she might have gone down that path to go, look, this is helping me get really lean right now. I might get on stage, look great in a bikini. But maybe she might find the man of her dreams, maybe. But at the same time, are there long-term effects of that in terms of having kids?
I'm sure, obviously, look, I ain't had kids yet. But obviously, God willing, one day I will. Hopefully soon. But I'm sure they're aware of the consequences with it, what comes with it. And I'm sure they've probably done their research. And I'm sure if they've got a coach, I'm sure their coach is well experienced in that field to be able to kind of tell them, what to do, when to do it, when not to do it, and stuff like that. There's always courses that obviously you need to do. Obviously, when you come off, you obviously need to do another course to make sure obviously your system's clear. That's why obviously you make sure, your coaches obviously get them to do blood tests to make sure everything's all right with the body. But yeah, overall, I'm sure that people who do take it, like the females, I'm sure they know what the cons are to it. If it's going to affect them in the long term. Listen, maybe some people might take it and they're able to have kids. Mm-hmm. Maybe some people might take it and they're not be able to have kids. But I guess, not in a horrible way, it's a trial and error. Like, I've learned loads of stuff about my body since going into that field. I've learned, what agrees with me, what don't agree with me. So again, I think it just all comes down to that individual, like how much research they've done. And sometimes, listen, you could do all the research. Doing research doesn't mean it's the right thing or it's the wrong thing. That's what I always say. Have a coach who knows all the do's and who knows everything about it. Do you know what I mean?
We can
Because
give
then you've
that
got
personal.
someone who could guide you on it. No matter how much you know about something, there's always someone out there who knows more than you.
Makes sense. And what about food? Has food changed? Because it feels like sometimes even chicken bloats me now. Are they being injected with certain steroids and hormones to make them grow bigger that we're just consuming them things? A lot of people say going vegan is better. Having like all of these greens, and you can get iron from broccoli, and you can get more sort of minerals and vitamins from vegetables than a piece of meat nowadays. What's your opinion? Do you eat normal meat? Do you eat organic meat? Do you buy more expensive, any different places? Or do you just carry on the way you've always have?
So at one point when I was training, before I got with my coach, I've always been eating meat. I've always been eating chicken. From a young age to up to now, I've always been eating chicken. And it got to a point now when I noticed that every time I was eating chicken, I'd get a belly. So like my belly would swell up and I'd get like some mad cramps in my stomach. Only every time when I was eating chicken, right? And then obviously when I started to obviously look into it and stuff like that, someone said to me, oh, maybe you've built an intolerance to chicken because you've eaten it so much, maybe that's what it's done to you. So obviously when I started to do my own research and stuff like that, it said obviously, avoid obviously eating chicken. Mate, I'm a chicken lover. That's like telling me don't go to the gym. I was like, well, apart from chicken, what else am I supposed to eat? So then I started to look into, I can't remember what the program was. They had that documentary about plant-based, innit? And vegan and stuff. I can't remember what it was called. So I watched that program, and then after watching that program, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go vegan. I'm gonna try it. So I went vegan for a whole year.
Wow,
I
really?
went vegan for a whole year.
You're
Right?
joking.
No, I literally went
No
vegan
meat.
for a whole year, right? And it was hard because obviously there's so much things that you can't eat. You got to keep looking at the nutrients on the back and be like, is it got this ingredient? Has it got that ingredient? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm that sort of person. If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it all. I'm gonna go 100% in. I'm not gonna do it 60% and have it like here and nah. I'm going all in. So I was like, cool. So I started to look at all the ingredients and stuff like that. I was like, cool. I can have stuff like tofu, tempeh, all these things. And I was like, okay, like, how much of it do I need to eat now? I know how much grams of chicken I need to get in, right? Now, how much tofu am I going to eat? And I'll be honest with you, like, have you tried tofu before?
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
It tastes a bit eggy, like it's sort
I'll
of
be honest with you,
scrambled like that.
I didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah.
At first, it wasn't bad because it was something new. So I was like, it just tasted different. I was like, okay, this is like enjoyable. I could do this, right? Trying to get the same amount of protein you're getting from a chicken into a tofu, mate, I had to eat like a block of tofu. And I was like, no matter how you season it, how you cut it up, it won't make you no difference. But you know what? I stuck at it, right? But what I noticed when I did that, I had a lot more energy at first. My energy was out the roof. Like, I was buzzing all the time. I had so much energy throughout the day. Like, it was crazy, right? But then what I noticed is my muscle mass was going down slowly.
Oh
I
no.
was don't get me wrong, I was getting shredded,
Yeah.
but I was losing muscle mass, right? And then obviously it was that time when I'd done it for 12 months and I was like, I started to notice in myself, I was like, yeah, like I'm getting small, man. And it weren't body dysmorphia. I knew I was getting small. The clothes were getting big for me, and I was like, mate, I'm losing size. Like, what am I supposed to do? And I thought, you know what? I was going on my cousin's stag at that time to Ibiza, and obviously, imagine I'm going to Ibiza and I'm vegan. All my brother, my cousins, my family, everyone, all my mates were like eating like chicken, meat, steak, everything, burgers, everything. And it was the last 2 days. We went to this place. I can't remember what it was called. I think it was called like Burgers and Shakes or something like that, right? And they were eating it, and they're like, "Bro, just have it, man. Like, it's not gonna do anything. One burger's not gonna do anything." And I was like, "Yeah, but I've been vegan for like a whole year. Like, I'm gonna eat that burger now and spoil it." And then one of them said to me, "Bro, eat it because you need the gains. Like, you're getting small, right?" From that moment, I was like, "You know what? Give me that burger." I ate the burger and I was like, "Mate, this tasted so good."
Oh, wow.
Right? And then from that moment, that's when I came back from my beefer, and I'll never forget. It was, I can't remember what year it was. I think it might have been 2019, and that's when I messaged my coach. I was like, "Listen, I've seen you on Instagram. I've seen you get people amazing transformations. This is what I want to do. I'm vegan. I'm happy to switch over back to chicken. What's your opinion on it?" And he said to me, he goes, "Listen, you're not gonna get the mass on vegan what you're trying to get, if you eat meat." So I was like, "You know what, cool, meat it is." And then from there, I went back to meat, and I just kind of, went back to myself. So for me, it was more enjoyable. I ain't gonna lie, it weren't enjoyable for me to go vegan. I went vegan, then after a while, I was like, I need more protein. So I tried to go pescatarian and just eat fish. And I was like, then I was watching other stuff like on YouTube, and they were like, you can't eat too much fish because of the mercury this and mercury that. And I was like, mate, like, I'm confused what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, you know what, I'm going back to eating meat. And then from there, I've just stuck to meat. I've had no problem. Maybe I did have intolerance. Maybe because I went vegan for 12 months, that might have helped it, because obviously I didn't have no chicken in my system for a year. So it might have just helped my stomach and digestive system and all of that.
Absolutely. Do you think there's more chemicals in food nowadays?
100%. 100%. Listen, you could see it in the packets when you buy them. I can't remember where it was. I bought something not long ago with my missus, and the chicken was massive. Like, mate, it was like so big that I've never seen a chicken breast that size in a packet. And I was like looking like, is this like one big chicken breast or something? So I know for 100% that they're definitely sticking something in it. And you can obviously see it is when you cook it as well. From the size, obviously, it is. Obviously, we know when you cook food, it shrinks.
Shrinks, yeah.
But for the size that it shrinks to, you're like, mate, how much stuff are they actually injecting in that chicken?
And is there certain places that you would shop to get more cleaner chicken, or do you just go for whatever's just there?
So originally, I was trying to go for organic. Yeah, mate, organic, obviously, things obviously get very expensive at the times as well. Then I started to check like certain places. I was going a little bit like Waitrose. Then obviously maybe a couple of times Sainsbury's. Then I just fell back into that cycle of just eating like, just going to normal places like Tesco's, Sainsbury's and stuff like that to go and get my meat. There was a couple of times actually I was driving to a butcher's and getting it. But yeah, for me at the moment, I'm just going to, any supermarket to get it.
Do you notice a difference when you do buy it from Waitrose or organic from a butcher's or something?
I'll be honest with you, for me personally, I don't really notice the difference. But obviously, psychology or in my mindset, I might feel like, oh yeah, it's doing something more healthier to me. If it is, if it's not,
Like a placebo effect.
Yeah, like I don't know, but I just give it a go.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about social media. You've got over 90,000 followers.
Yeah.
How have you been able to build that? And because a social media presence is so important. It's the first thing people will say, "Oh, you on Instagram? Let me have a little look." Is a place where you post some of your best sets, some of your best pictures, some of your best achievements. You've been able to do really, really well. you get very, very good engagement. Thousands and thousands of people engage with your reels and your posts. How have you been able to do that? And how have you been able to build that?
So obviously from, when you first have Instagram, you never start off with high following or high engagement and stuff like that. Again, it's like being in the fitness industry, like you're trying to get results, so you need to be consistent with everything. The more you post, the more engagement you get, the more reach you get, the more you kind of go up on the social media rankings for people to see your profile more and stuff like that. I've just been really, really consistent with my post, with obviously the message I'm trying to get out there. Obviously, I do everything to do with health and fitness. Yes, I put lifestyle stuff like that, obviously when I'm away or with my partner, with friends, family, that sort of things. For me, what massively helped to grow my social media, and majority of people probably do know this. So obviously I got introduced to a person, I won't say her name, just in case, but I got introduced to someone who was on Love Island. I started training her just before. Obviously, she went on to Love Island, come out of Love Island. Since then, obviously, I've been training her, so she's always been with me. And she's helped me massively. She always kept like posting me, tagging me, and doing things like that. And then it became like, we just became like really, really good friends. So even up to now, I actually trained her yesterday. And even up to now, she's always helped me out. So if I've asked her, oh, listen, can you help me out with social media? She's always helped me. And then from there, obviously, when people started to see me training her, she introduced me to a couple of her friends, with high profiles, people who were on other TV reality shows and stuff like that. So yeah, from there, obviously, the more exposure I was getting from there, the more it was helping my Instagram account grow. And since then, I've just been really, really consistent with everything. And don't get me wrong, it's good having a massive following. Everyone probably wants a massive following, stuff like that. But it depends, obviously, also what you're trying to get out of it. For me, obviously, I'm trying to grow my business. So obviously, I use my social media for work purposes. So now my goal is to obviously get that engagement into my business, to try and inspire people to get healthy, to get fit and stuff like that. Send that message. That's my message out there, to inspire people.
How do you deal with hate? You must get a lot of hate on there as well.
Yeah, I've had comments on there. I've had comments on there before, and stuff like that. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. I just ignore it. I genuinely ignore it. I don't even delete the messages. If someone puts like whatever, like, oh, he's on steroids, or whatever it is, it could be anything, right? I don't even delete the message. I know some people delete horrible messages. Listen, I'll just leave it there because it just shows that I'm just being real. Like, cool. If I call them keyboard warriors. Like, if you want to put something on there negative, that's on you. I'm not going to sit there and waste my energy and my time commenting on you. We see it a lot. Sometimes when someone posts something, or like, I don't know, like someone like Lad Bible or something like that, they'll post something and you go in the comment section, you just see a few of the comments and you go through some of the comments and I'm like, mate, like some people just got too much time on their hands. Like, you've got so much time on your hands to actually write something disgusting or be horrible to someone. Like, why? What is that going to change in your life? So for me, I'm just like, you know what? If someone wants to hate on me or put something in the comment section, right, cool, you do you. I'm still going to do me. Like, it's not going to affect me. It's not going to put me off. It's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing because what you're commenting doesn't affect me. Your opinion of me doesn't even matter. Yeah, you got your own opinion, and if that's what you think of me, no problem. But I'm still going to carry on doing what I'm doing and just ignore it. And I think, again, it always comes down to obviously having a strong mindset. Like, don't let that affect you. Obviously, there's going to be times when someone could be really, really horrible and say something really, really bad. And sometimes, yeah, you want to be like, you know what, you just want to message that person, but you're like, listen, it's not going to solve anything. They're still probably going to do what they're going to do on someone else's account. So I'm like, I'll just ignore it.
Nice, man. Because that can really, really play tricks on you, you know. For me, I'm a businessman, but people are like, you're the reason why nobody can buy because you're buying up all the houses. And it's like, you don't even know the basis of economics. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I feel that these people hate themselves like so much that they have to try put some hate on you to say why they couldn't do it.
That's exactly what it comes down to. It's not the fact that they're hating on you or on me. They're insecure about their self. So they have to lash out on something. And unfortunately, you've posted something at that time was emotionally given them that pain. So they're like, you know what? I'm just gonna comment something horrible. Listen, I see it all the time. Not even just on my profiles. I see it on other people's profiles. I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. You can't stop it. Unfortunately, the world we live in now, that's how people are. But again, there's so much more bigger things happening in the world. That comment's not even going to affect me.
100, 100. And what's it like training celebrities?
It's nice. It's nice because I think a lot of people have got this portrait about people like celebrities or TV, reality stars, like, oh, they're ignorant or they're just rude, like, they think they're God's gift and stuff like that. Listen, the people who are, I can't speak for everyone, I can only speak for the people I've trained or who I work with. The people who I've trained, they've been really, really nice. And they're really down to earth people. Some people will be like, oh, are they like snobbish or anything? Like, no, they're really, really nice people. Listen, they're normal people. They've got a heart as well. Do you see what I mean? Just because you see them on TV and stuff like that, everything you see on TV, again, you can't believe what you see on TV. I'm sure, I don't know, like, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just saying, I'm sure most of the time when they do things on TV, it gets made out that they look like the bad person. And deep down, they're not the bad person. But it is nice to be able to kind of speak with people because I like to ask questions. So I like to ask them, like, what's it like, being on TV, do you feel like it changed you? Did it change your mindset from not being on TV to going on TV? Like, how did life change for you? Like, I like to know these things. I'm just like curious because I just think it's a nice thing to know. And also you're building rapport with them. One thing, I'm really strong on with like my clients and stuff, I like to build rapport. It's not, I just go there and PT them for 1 hour and sit there and be like, yeah, 1, 2, 3. I don't need to count their reps. They could count 1 to 10. Do you know what I mean? But I like to build rapport. I like to engage with them. I like to know, what do they do when they're not in the gym. I like to socialize with people. And I think that's a big factor in being a PT and stuff like that, because you're not just a PT, you're like a therapist to them. They like to tell you your problems and stuff like that. But yeah, training them is fun. It's nice.
How big is genetics when you're training as well?
In what way?
Can somebody have just really, really good genetics on the way they look, and then training just does that little bit extra to them? Where some people work really, really, really hard and try to diet hard, and it's hard for them to change their body shape.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, some people might feel different or think different. I think genetics play a massive part. I'm not saying if you don't have the genetics, you can't get to that physique. Yes, you could always get to the physique you want. It might take you longer. It might take you 3 years. It might take you 5 years. It might take you 10 years. I don't know. But yeah, having genetics do help. Like example, like my older brother, he's definitely got the genetics, right? Like, he's always been shredded. He's always had abs. He's always been gifted like that. Do you know what I mean? And he's not someone who was going to the gym every single day and stuff like that. But he was gifted like that. He'll do like one workout and suddenly he'll just pump up. He'll have like abs and everything. I'm like, mate, like, just, do you know what I mean? And while we're basically dieting, trying to get our abs, he's already got it. But some people are gifted like that.
I hear you. Definitely, man. I do see that as well. And sometimes like you have a training partner, you're doing the same workouts, they're getting more ripped and bigger quicker than you, and just like, what the hell is going on? But again, what you said earlier is the same workouts don't work for everybody.
Definitely not. Definitely not. The same thing when it comes down to the nutrition. Just because obviously someone's having one thing, you might have the same thing. It don't mean it's going to work for you. Everyone has different likes and dislikes. Everyone has different digestive system. What I might be able to digest, you might not, or vice versa.
People fail to see that, and there's not that much education on this, to be honest. Unless you're going to a nutritionist and paying, or if you're with a personal trainer, no, there ain't no open advice on going. The most easiest thing you can do is buy a cheap McDonald's. Do you know what I mean? And say,
Yeah.
oh, you're getting protein from there from a chicken burger, when it's all processed and people don't even know what refined sugars are. The
Yeah.
amount of carbohydrates that's been condensed into this one thing that spikes your sugar levels, then people going, well, I only had that. Like I saw this thing on Instagram again, this big comparison, and it said I only had these few things, and it was like a donut, a fizzy drink.
But what does it
and,
lead to at the end of it?
and it was like 1100 calories, and then it showed on the other side of like chicken breast, kale, vegetables, all of these 3 plates that were exactly the same amount of calories. And that's when the bodybuilders go, I ate so much today. But you can see the difference in, how many calories some of these small items have that are fast food. Kem, I've got I've got some fire round questions for you.
Yep.
That requires just a minute or two answer, and we'll just go through all of them, just like quick myth busters or quick little tips or helps, if you can help us with that. What's the biggest mistake of training for muscle growth?
The biggest mistake of training for muscle growth.
So am I just gonna do the heaviest as possible push and I'm gonna get big?
That is probably one of the biggest mistakes I made. When I tried to get big, I thought it was just all about lifting heavy. I didn't know anything to do with, tempo, stressing out the muscle. I just thought I've got to pick up the heaviest dumbbell and just try and lift it somehow. It wasn't, I didn't know about posture and techniques. And I think posture and techniques plays a massive part in building good quality muscle, because once you've got good technique and good form, once you could do 10 to 12 reps on something with that, then guess what? You can increase the weight and then do the same thing with that.
Which exercises do you need to do?
This is a good question, actually. I like this. So again, it all depends on what you're trying to develop, what sort of physique you're trying to develop. For me, I like doing stuff like the basic fundamentals. I don't like to try and complicate things or make anything, any fancy workouts. I just like doing the basic fundamentals, doing an incline, on my chest, incline chest press, incline fly press. If I'm doing shoulders, I like doing dumbbell shoulder press, side raises. If I'm doing biceps, I like doing single alternative bicep curls, hammers. Again, if I'm doing legs, I like doing leg extensions, hamstring curls. So I always keep things to the basic fundamentals, and I think a lot of people go wrong because they try and complicate things. They see obviously all these people on social media doing these fancy workouts, lifting the dumbbell this way, lifting it that way. Best way to build muscle is just do the basic fundamentals.
Which leads me nicely onto my next question, the stimulus to fatigue. So for me, for example, I see somebody do skull crushers. For me, when I do skull crushers, all I can do is just feel the pain on my elbows, no matter whatever way I'm pushing my elbows. And the only place I can feel it working, I can feel my triceps engaged, but it's really, really hurting my elbows. Is that a good feeling? Are there certain exercises that on your body might not be very effective?
Yeah. So again, for me, when I do skull crushers, I feel it, but not as much as if I did a tricep rope curl or with the V bar or maybe dips. So for me, if I'm doing triceps, I'll try and go for a dumbbell over my head instead of doing skull crushers, only because when I'm doing it, I feel it on my tricep when I'm doing a workout, but I feel it more if I'm doing the alternatives to something else, like the rope curls or the V-bar. Like I feel it more on my triceps. I get more of a pump and I feel it more working in that muscle area than doing a skull crusher. So I think that if you're trying something and it don't feel right, it's common sense to change something till you feel comfortable or you feel like it's working that area. You know, if you're doing a chest press with dumbbells, example, and you feel like it's not working your upper chest, like you can't get an upper chest pump more, then it probably means that maybe you need to move your seat more higher. Example, it's just more common sense. I would suggest in that area.
So everyone's muscle connection tissues are in different places.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
If you could only keep 10 exercises, what would they be for you?
10 exercises.
Yes.
So I'll give you my 10 favorite exercises then.
Yeah.
Incline chest press, lat pull down, leg extensions, hack squats. I like bicep curls, if it's biceps or hammers. Side raises, I love. Pullovers with a dumbbell. Dumbbell back row, I would say. Funny enough, I actually love doing calf raises on a machine. I don't know why, I just like calf raises. And last one I'd probably say would be pull-ups, because I think doing pull-ups like changes someone's physique like crazy.
Yeah.
That's for me. Whenever I do pull-ups, my back just widens out straight away. And I feel like if I don't do pull-ups, I feel like my back gets smaller and smaller.
Okay. That actual strength of pulling yourself up. It's funny about the thing that you say about calf. My calf muscles are so strong, but they're the smallest. And there's some people who go, I'm like, rah, what do you do on your calves? He goes, don't do calves.
Yeah. There's some people who don't do so, like, for you. So a lot of people say to me, I've got really big traps. Believe it or not, I don't do traps. I think the last time I trained traps was probably
1980.
No. Probably about five years ago. Even when I was competing, my coach said to me, like, you got to stop doing traps. I was like, Jace, I'm not doing traps. There's no traps in my program. But I think as soon as I do a shoulder workout,
They get engaged.
Yeah, my traps basically engage a lot more. And that was one of the judges' feedback when I was on the show. They said to me, your traps are too dominant, like they're too big.
Wow.
And I was like, mate, like I'm not even training traps.
Take that one. What do you think of pause during reps?
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think it's really, really good, because obviously when you're pausing, you're stressing the muscles out. Same thing, obviously, if you're doing negatives. When I usually do a negative rep, as I'm coming down, I will actually pause for 1 or 2 seconds and then drive the weight up. I think that makes a good difference on stressing the muscles, because obviously, listen, to grow your muscles, you need to stress them out more. So obviously, you've got to think of ways to stress your muscles out. So that's why everything I do, obviously, like we spoke about earlier, everything I try and do is with a negative and a pause at the end of it.
Nice. What's the ideal way to warm up?
Ideal way, I would say probably use a CV machine. So obviously your cardiovascular levels first. So obviously you want to do like a treadmill or something like that. Just obviously get the blood pumping, get your heart going. Then I'll start off with some dynamic stretches. So do a couple of dynamic stretches.
Such as?
Like, say, it could be anything. So dynamic stretches, anything with your body moving. So it could be obviously maybe arms going forward, arms going back, lunges with a twist. Then obviously go into your workout. Obviously, after you finish your workout, cool down, bring the heart rate down again. So obviously when you're on the CV machine again, bring your heart rate down. then finish on some static stretching. So static stretching, obviously you're stretching without basically moving. So it might be obviously a tricep pull down or something like that.
Nice. How do you know how heavy to lift?
So this is actually a really, really good question, because I never knew when I'm supposed to increase the weight or anything like that. So for me, the way I work it out is if I'm doing 10 to 12 reps on something, I know I need to increase it till I can't go more than 6 reps. So let's say my first set, I'll go 10 to 12. Yeah. Second set, I might do, again, 10 reps. Third set, I might go 8 or 9 reps. My fourth set, I'm going to go heavier again. So I'll probably get to maybe 6. Once I get to 6, I know, cool, I can't go any heavier. One day when I get from, when I go heavy and from doing 6 reps, when I could get to 8 or 10, then I know, cool, that's the time for me to increase the weight.
Nice. Should you train to failure?
I think training to failure helps massively. Again, I think obviously it all depends on people's physiques and what they're trying to train for. But again, I think if you try different methods and once your body starts plateauing, then it's a good way of trying something different. So training to failure, it's not a bad thing at all. I know loads of people who train to failure. I've done it before, and I think like it helps massively.
Here's a big one, and you probably see it in the gym all the time. Somebody does a quick set, puts it down, and then on their phone,
That annoys me. That annoys me. Like, I can't explain it. That really gets to me so bad.
Especially if you're waiting for that machine, you know what I mean, or that bench. So the question is, what is the right amount of time of rest between sets?
I think personally, 30 to 60 seconds is a good time. Some people might need a little bit more. Listen, I'm not saying that you can't rest for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, but if you're resting for 2-3 minutes and you're like that, then to me that means, oh mate, like, come on. Because there's been times when I've seen people on their phone and I'm waiting to use a machine, and I'll just say to them, listen, mate, if you don't mind me asking, like, how many more sets you got? And the guy will say something to me like 6, but he's on his phone as well, and I'm like, all right, cool. But for me, I'm like, I ain't waiting for that machine. I know that guy's going to take forever. He's on his phone. He's telling me he's got 6 more reps, 6 more sets. I need to go and find an alternative now.
Come back to it.
Yeah. Or I'll probably finish my workout and the guy's probably still there sitting on his phone.
Oh, no. How impactful is a session's length?
So when I train, I will probably train for about an hour and 10 minutes. It all depends on how much rest I have and stuff like that. Usually, I'll be honest with you, I'm quite focused in the gym. I don't really talk a lot or anything like that. I put my headphones on, I go in, I train, I try and smash it out as quick as I can so I could get out. So I would probably say when I do weight training, I usually do about an hour and 10 minutes, and then I'll probably finish on like some cardio. There's some days I might go really, really early just to go and do my cardio to get it out of the way, and then go back lunchtime or in the evening to train and do weight training.
Mm-hmm. What's the optimal frequency of training?
Again, I think it all depends on people's ability. When I like to train with intensity. So I always kind of say to people, like between, if I said to you, example, Sean, like between 1 to 10, 10 being really like, it's really heavy and, you're really going for it. And 1's being like, you've got so much energy, which one you at when you're training? If people say to me a 5, I'm like, not in a horrible way, that person not training hard enough. I like to train at all out. Like my coach said to me, leave nothing in the tank. Mm-hmm. So I'm always trying to aim to be a 9 or a 10 and give everything I've got, like have that high intensity level. Because again, it comes down to your mindset and your why. I've got a big why I want to do this workout, why I need to get this workout done. Mm-hmm. If I'm trying to step on stage, listen, if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, there's someone out there who's going to be on stage who's doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I can't afford to step on stage and be like, you know what, I didn't put in the work. That's why that guy beat me, or that's why that guy got placed and I didn't. Deep down, I know I didn't put in the work. So I know every time I've competed, no matter if I placed or if I didn't place, I know I gave everything. I couldn't give anything more. There's nothing else for me to give. Do you see what I mean?
100. Yes. What's the science of training splits?
So I think it all depends, obviously, again, what your goals are. Some people obviously will do an all body rounder. Some people might do an upper and a lower. Some people might just do, like example, Mondays for me might be chest and triceps. Maybe Tuesday might be back and biceps. Wednesday might be legs. Thursday, I might have a rest because obviously legs is a big muscle group. I feel like I need a rest after legs day. Then Friday, if I feel like I need to develop my chest more, then I'll go for a second chest session. So it all depends, obviously, what you feel like your weaknesses are. Obviously, if you've got a weakness, then I would say, obviously, try and train that specific area twice a week.
I hear you. So you work on the other days, you work on stuff that you think that needs improvement.
Yeah, as long as I've covered all my body areas like chest, back, triceps, biceps, legs, like I've covered everything. And if I've got a spare day, then I'll try and add that, the specific area I'm trying to work in. Or if if I'm doing back and I feel like I've still got more in me, I might be like, because for me, I'm trying to work my upper chest. So for me, I'm like, cool, I'm going to do a little bit of upper chest. Not going to go like loads of sets because I've already done upper chest this week, but I'm just going to work on it just to improve it a little bit more.
So has somebody's walking in the gym and you've seen them come for the last 3 years and they always pretty much look the same. They're not the most chiseled, they're a little bit, maybe a little bit chubby. They look quite big, but they're not ripped either. And then you end up speaking to him and you're like, "You're right, mate." He goes, "Yeah, I'm all right. Oh, no matter what I do, I'll always look the same." What advice are you giving that person? Because you've seen them for the last 3 years, they always look the same.
I would ask them like questions like, what's their goal? What are they trying to reach to? They might say to me, "I'm trying to lose weight." I'm like, cool. Between 1 to 10, with your nutrition and your training, 10 being it's really, really good, 1 being it's not great, where do you think you're at? They might say a 4. I'm like, cool. So first things first, you need to probably work harder in the gym. I need to obviously get better with your nutrition. And then obviously I'll try and explain to them the service I provide if they want me to help them. If they decide, yeah, I'm interested, I'll sit them down, do a consultation with them, find out what their goals are, what's the reason they want to do it, yeah, find out what their experiences are before, what sort of training are they doing now, what sort of foods are they eating now. Then I'll provide them with a nutrition plan to obviously, on training programs to obviously help them develop their physique. Sometimes, again, people might be in the gym and they might look the same and stuff like that. But maybe that person, unless that person comes up to me and asks me for advice, I don't really like to go up to them and be like, "Oh, I could help you," because maybe that person is happy the way they look. Maybe that person's just come in and they're like, "You know what? I just want an hour to wind down, get away from work, get away from the office, and just chill. Like I just want to be by myself, have some me time, and just do a bit of cardio, bit of weight." They're not relying on getting big or getting toned. Their thing is for their mindset, their mental awareness, like their mental health is like, cool, let me just come down and just be active and feel good about myself.
Amazing, bro. Do you know what? This has been like an encyclopedia today. I think
I've enjoyed it.
I've ripped your brain apart, and the amount of reels we're going to make out of this is going to sort of really, really help so many people.
I look forward to it.
So if you could just let the audience know at home, where's the best place for people to find you?
So guys, you can find me on social media on Instagram. My Instagram name is Haskem. That's HASSKEM. And if you need any guidance with anything, just drop me a DM and I'll get back to you.
And there you go, guys. Another amazing episode. We learned all about how to train correctly, a little bit about foods, diets, how we perceive ourselves, and all about the mindset. So don't forget to leave us a comment, and I promise you that Hass will give us the answer, and I'll make sure I get that for you. Smash the subscribe button, because unfortunately, yes, we get thousands and thousands of views, but 92% of you are not subscribed. So come on, be part of the family. Make sure you smash the subscribe button and share this with somebody who may need to hear it. So until next time, catch you then. Peace.